While there is no tried and true recipe when it comes to becoming a successful wrestling promotion, a key ingredient is star power. Sometimes you're blessed with a roster that is so charismatic that they can create their own hype. Other times, though, you need to reach out and ask for a little help from the biggest names in pop culture. I'm Eric from West Coast POPcast, and here are our top 10 celebrity appearances in professional wrestling. Honorable mentions go out to Karl Malone, Pac-Man Jones, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Ronda Rousey will not be making the list, however, due to her becoming an active member of the WWE roster. Number 10. The Unstoppable Force meets the Immovable Object. The first of two basketball players to make this list, Shaquille O'Neal has had an on-again, off-again relationship with professional wrestling. Beginning in 1994, 2 years into his NBA career, Shaq made his debut as the man who would present the WCW World Heavyweight Championship to the winner of Hogan vs. Flair at that year's Bash at the Beach. Though, when Hogan won, he wouldn't actually present the title to him. He would be upstaged by Mr. T. In 2009, Shaq was brought in as a guest manager of Monday Night Raw, where he would engage in all kinds of wackiness, like rapping with Santino Marella and being a special enforcer for Crime Time as they fought the team of Chris Jericho and The Big Show. In 2012, Hulk Hogan, a professional wrestler who has won multiple world titles, called on Shaq, a basketball player who had never wrestled at this point, to protect him from the Impact faction known as Aces and Eights, a group of really tough, really good professional wrestlers. In 2016, Shaq entered the Andre the Giant Battle Royal in order to set up a feud with The Big Show that would lead to a match with him at the next WrestleMania. However, due to reasons not entirely clear, if you ask Big Show, he blames Shaq. If you ask Shaq, he blames Big Show. The match never came to fruition, and someone out there was left really, really sad. Number 9. Stardust covered arrows. We all have that friend that we force to watch pro wrestling in hopes of converting him into one of us. Some of us fail and feel bad for the poor sap, but others succeed and manage to turn an outsider into a bona fide mark. Well, no one succeeded at that more than current AEW EVP and talent, Cody Rhodes, when he worked a program with former star of CW's Arro, Stephen Amell. Under the gimmick of Stardust, a cross between Goldust and Starlight Express, Cody would provoke and demand a match between himself and Stephen Amell. To add to the superhero-villain dynamic, WWE's very own superhero Neville, now known as Pac, the man with the most muscles to ever muscle, tagged with Amell against a team of Stardust and King Barrett. After an impressive showing, in which Amell and Neville came out victorious, Rhodes and Amell remained very close friends. After Rhodes left WWE and joined the Bullet Club, he decided to give Steven a call and get him back in the ring. He teamed with the Bullet Club to fight SCU and Flip Gordon in Ring of Honor's 2017 Survival of the Fittest. He faced Christopher Daniels at 2018's All In, where he would unfortunately fracture his hip. And in 2020, at AEW's Revolution, he was one of the close friends that escorted Cody down to the ring in his match against Jericho. Amell promised his agent that he wouldn't wrestle anymore until he was done with Arrow in order to avoid an untimely injury. But remember how I said former star of Arrow? Well, now that he's moved on to star in Heels, a drama about a small-time wrestling promotion on Stars, the chances of us seeing him in AEW again are higher than Rob Van Dam on the 20-foot ladder. Number 8. Battle of the Grumpy Old Men. Okay, let's get all the Trump jokes out of the way now. Yes, he looks like orange chicken you left out too long. Yes, his hair is what shag carpeting looks like in nature. Yes, he wants to sleep with his daughter more than her actual husband does. Now that we have that out of our way, let's just move on and focus on he looks like Ebenezer Scrooge took a radiation bath. Sorry, I couldn't help it. In all seriousness, Trump has had a very interesting history with professional wrestling. He hosted WrestleManias 4 and 5 at Trump Plaza, was interviewed ringside by Jesse Ventura at WrestleMania 20, was parodied in a match that placed his doppelganger against a Rosie O'Donnell doppelganger on an episode of Raw, and engaged in the WWE stock-crashing feud dubbed Battle of the Billionaires. I'm not kidding about that last one. In a feud that saw Trump buy the WWE from Vince, Trump promised that he would not only provide a 2-hour-long, commercial-free version of Raw, he also promised to refund the tickets of those in attendance while making it rain money, mostly fake, but with some real dollar bills in there. And to make it seem convincing, WWE released a press statement that Trump had actually bought WWE from Vince McMahon. This scared shareholders so much that the WWE stock price dropped 7%. The angle was quickly dropped, McMahon kayfabe bought the WWE back from Trump, and they went on to have their Battle of the Billionaires match at WrestleMania 23, which saw Bobby Lashley defeat Umaga on behalf of Trump. Vince got his hair shaved off by Trump, Lashley, and special guest referee Stone Cold Steve Austin, and we saw Trump show the world evidence that he has never, nor does he know how, to throw a punch. Number 7, from Bulls to Wolfpac. Residing at the power forward position of the 1997 Chicago Bulls, Dennis Rodman was already a star in pop culture all on his own. He played like a superstar, dressed like a rock star, and after becoming a 3-time NBA champion, became a megastar. Put all that together with arguably the most popular faction in pro wrestling history, the NWO, and you have the coolest group of men to ever step inside the ring, except of course, for Glacier. Rodman made his debut in March of 1997, and he made it perfectly clear that he wasn't there just to be a prop. He wanted to wrestle with the boys, and that he did, competing in 4 matches total from 1997 to 2000. In 1997, he teamed with Hollywood Hogan to defeat the Giant and Lex Luger at Bash at the Beach. In 1998, he teamed with Hogan again to defeat DDP and Karl Malone in a feud that was based on the real-life fact that Rodman skipped practice during an NBA Finals series against Malone's Utah Jazz in order to perform on Monday Night Nitro. In 1999, he would lose to Bonesaw cosplayer Macho Man Randy Savage. And in 2000, he would fight for Curt Hennig's I-Generation World Heavyweight Championship in what was his last and probably most forgettable match. But hey, he does hold the prestige of being the first and only winner of Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling, and for that, we say thank you, Rodzilla. Number 6, here comes the money. No, not that one. I'm talking about Floyd Money Mayweather, the man who beat Manny Pacquiao, the man who beat Conor McGregor, and one of the many, many men to defeat the Big Show at WrestleMania. WWE is no stranger to presenting the ultimate underdog versus the hulking giant, but how do you make a feud with Mayweather and Big Show feel different? By breaking the world's largest nose. Well, second to Triple H. At 2008's No Way Out pay-per-view, Big Show knew that the beginning of this feud had to be a shot that would be heard around the world. So before their segment, Show told Floyd to legitimately break his nose, and Floyd was only too happy to oblige. As Big Show taunted Mayweather, even getting down to one knee to meet him at eye level, Mayweather took his shot and hit Show with a right hook that, as requested, left him with a broken, bleeding, and busted nose. The image of an enraged Big Show that saw red instantly set the stage for their WrestleMania 24 match. Designed to be low impact for Mayweather, the match was a true David vs. Goliath story, with Big Show destroying Mayweather's posse one by one and refusing to allow Mayweather to escape. It wasn't until Mayweather brought a chair into the equation and finished things up with a brass knuckle sandwich was he rewarded the KO victory over the Big Show. Mayweather's tenure in WWE may have only lasted a month, but the amount of eyes he brought to the product can't be understated. Even more, it's fair to say that this was one of the best celebrity matches in professional wrestling history. Number 5. Seriously? He was WCW World Heavyweight Champion? Seriously, he was WCW World Heavyweight Champion. When you ask yourself, how did the WCW lose to WWE in the Monday Night Wars? There isn't really one clear reason for the multitude of them. Being star crazy and paying every celebrity they could to appear? Sure. Allowing their revolutionary cruiserweight division to slip from their hands by not pushing them properly? Fair point. Passing their main title around like Stacy at that frat party? Okay, this certainly didn't help. These 3 reasons can all be seen in the championship reign of David Arquette. Fresh off producing 2000's Ready to Rumble, Arquette was brought in to both bring eyes to WCW and promote his film. The build-up to Arquette winning the title was so underwhelming that I promise you, you're not missing anything by me not explaining it. Just know that Arquette teamed with the then champion DDP in a tag match against Eric Bischoff and Jeff Jarrett, with the stipulation that the man who wins the match for his team will become the WCW champion. In the match's finish, Arquette would pin Bischoff, taking the title from his tag partner to become the new champion. To give you an idea of how disastrous this was, the year 2000 saw 26 title changes in WCW. 7 title reigns lasted a day. 14 reigns lasted 2 weeks or less. But somehow, this is the reign we all remember the most when we think of why WCW failed. In one reign, WCW managed to pay a celebrity too much money for not enough results, push someone who didn't deserve it over their cruiserweights, and pass the title around like Stacy at that Christmas party. Seriously, Stacy, get your life together. But Eric, I hear you argue, if Arquette is so bad, why is he in the top 5? Well, stranger, there are 2 reasons why. Number 1, we're still talking about it today. Granted, it's not in a good sense, but we still look back on Arquette's time and say, so that happened. And number 2, it's still happening. Arquette may have built himself the best wrestling career a celebrity has ever had, due mainly to his 2018 comeback. After training with AEW's librarian and all-around swell guy, Peter Avalon, he competed in a singles match against RJ City at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, which he would lose. He would then team with RJ City to defeat the team of Idris Abraham and Joe Coleman at Border City Wrestling's 25th anniversary show. He would then go on to wrestle Nick Gage in a death match at Joey Janela's LA Confidential event, which would leave his face brutalized and give him a severe cut in his neck that would leave him bleeding profusely and need to be hospitalized. Isn't professional wrestling just fun? Number 4, tailor-made for success. One of the reasons Mayweather made it so high on this list is, as stated, he had one of the best celebrity matches in professional wrestling. Well, taking the number 4 spot, Lawrence Taylor is thought by many to have had the greatest professional wrestling match by a celebrity. Don't get me wrong, the match is nowhere near 5 stars, but in the world that allowed Snooki to have a WrestleMania match, it's certainly a solid match by comparison. The build-up to this match was explosive in its time. Bam Bam Bigelow and Tatanka were facing the 1-2-3 Kid and Bob Holly in order to gain the vacant tag team titles. Bam Bam and Tatanka were the favorites to win, but in a surprising upset, 1-2-3 Kid would get the pin, get the titles, and would retire on top, avoiding any type of nuclear heat in the future. The crowd in Tampa were absolutely elated to see Bam Bam lose to the 1-2-3 Kid and began taunting him into a fury. A fury that would lead to Bam Bam shoving an innocent fan in the front row. Unfortunately for him, the man he pushed was none other than Lawrence Taylor. And as we would learn, when you push Lawrence Taylor, prepare to pay the price. Bam Bam would challenge Taylor to a match at WrestleMania 11, and even though he would refuse at first, Taylor would eventually accept and find himself in the main event. To be fair, this Mania isn't exactly seen as a great Mania. Some wouldn't even call it a good Mania. But no one could deny Taylor put on a very solid performance. He took bumps, threw a suplex, was put into a Boston Crab, and gained the win after a forearm smash from the second rope. Pro Wrestling Illustrated would go as far as to say that this match saved WWF in its feud with WCW, bringing new eyes to the product and giving credibility to the notion that a celebrity could step into a squared circle for a legitimate match. Number 3, lend me your ear. How do you turn the biggest face at a time, perhaps the biggest wrestling draw in professional wrestling, into a bigger star? You pair him with the most hated man in professional sports at the time. Fresh off of his second fight with Holyfield, Tyson was not a very liked man, as he decided during that match that he wanted to do more than talk Holyfield's ear off. Vince McMahon had used this opportunity to pair him with Stone Cold Steve Austin in a feud that would succeed in propelling Austin even further to the top and make Tyson lovable again. Tyson appeared on the 1998 episode of Raw and was greeted by boos and chants of Holyfield, Holyfield, instantly establishing him as the perfect foil for Steve Austin, who would come down to the ring, have a shouting match that turned into a brawl, and jumpstart their legendary angle. This would lead to Tyson becoming an unofficial member of D-Generation X, and he would antagonize Stone Cold for weeks, leading up to a WWF title match that featured defending champion Shawn Michaels and Royal Rumble winner Stone Cold, where Tyson would be interjected as the special enforcer of the match. When it looked like the Heartbreak Kid would steal the win and walk away with the title, Tyson would intervene and give the 3 count for Stone Cold to walk out as champion, turning him face and aligning himself with Stone Cold. Afterwards, Tyson would knock Shawn Michaels out with the fastest right hook you've never seen and raise Stone Cold's hand in a moment that can only be described as iconic. So why does Tyson gain the number 3 spot? Before Tyson's arrival in WWE, WCW was on the McMahon sanity-crushing 84-week reign of dominance in the ratings over WWE. Bringing Tyson was an expensive gamble, but one that not only propelled the stardom of Austin, but brought eyes from WCW, the boxing world, and mainstream media all together. For the first time, professional wrestling was on everybody's lips, as the top celebrity of the time worked with the best professional wrestlers in what can be called the best angle a celebrity has ever put on in a wrestling ring. And for a bit of irony, Tyson will be making his return as the presenter of the TNT Championship at AEW's 2020 showing of Double or Nothing. The man who saved WWE from destruction will now work with their biggest competitor. Number 2, the real A-Team. Okay, time for a little honesty. When I originally put this list together, Mr. T was my number 1 pick. The man who competed in the very first WrestleMania main event. The man who pities the fool who doesn't stay in school. The man that gave a whole speech about loving his mother in his Hall of Fame induction speech. Seriously, finish this video, like, subscribe, all that jazz, but please, whatever you do, look up Mr. T's WWE Hall of Fame speech. It is the best speech ever, only made better by them failing to play him off and Kane coming out to drag him away. While Mr. T doesn't hold the distinction of having the best angle with a celebrity, or the best match by a celebrity, or the worst match by a celebrity, or the worst match by a celebrity, or the worst thanks to the buzz he generated due to his part in the highly beloved A-Team. He and Hulk Hogan brought in viewers for the WrestleMania 1 tag team match against Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper. With the heroic win, Hogan and Mr. T had given old fans and new a taste of what was to come at larger-than-life WrestleMania events. But the fun doesn't stop there. Mr. T would go on to face Bob Orton in a boxing match on the March 1986 edition of Saturday Night's Main Event, which aired on NBC, leading to his WrestleMania 2 match against Roddy Piper in a boxing match. This match would be essential in bringing eyes to the product too, as Mr. T would bring Smoking Joe Frazier to be his cornerman, and Piper would bring Bob Orton to be his. Mr. T would pick up the win by disqualification, and while the match was definitely the weaker of the two, it still brought unrivaled star power. Mr. T would go on to be the cornerman for Kenny Von Erich in World Class Championship Wrestling. He would be the cornerman for Hogan in his match against Flair at the 1994 Bash of the Beach, where he would upstage Shaq by actually presenting Hogan with the title. Remember? From earlier, wink wink nudge nudge. He was also the special guest referee for a Hogan-Flair match at the 1994 Halloween Havoc, and he would compete in his final match, defeating Kevin Sullivan at Starrcade of the same year. Mr. T may have been more faithful to Hogan than McMahon, but without him, WrestleMania would have begun and ended at 1. No one deserves more credibility for bringing professional wrestling to the mainstream eye. Well, no one besides number 1, Sin City. While Mr. T may have been a fundamental aspect of making WrestleMania the blockbuster it is today, without Cyndi Lauper, there may not have even been a WrestleMania in the first place. Her first collaboration with pro wrestling would be having Captain Lou Albano casted as her father in her Girls Just Wanna Have Fun music video. She would then return the favor, appearing on a June 1984 edition of Piper's Pit, where Albano would say sexist heel remarks towards her, and she would snap and attack him, leading to a feud where Albano would use the fabulous Moolah as a proxy, and Lauper would use Wendy Richter. As this was well before the Divas Revolution, women being used to further a storyline was very rare, but that's the star power that Cyndi brought. The grudge match would be shown on a wrestling special, The Brawl to End It All, a special that led to an MTV-WWE collaboration, with MTV broadcasting the main event. The main event would bring in an outstanding 9.0 rating, and Cyndi had proved that she had the star power to bring eyes to the product. Lauper would then go on to accompany Hogan as a manager in the match against Roddy Piper at the February 1985 edition of The War to Settle the Score. And Cindy was far from done, as she would go on to pull double duty and be a manager for Richter as she lost the women's title to Leilani Kai the same night. Lauper continued her support for Richter as she was her manager yet again in a title rematch, this time with the fabulous Moolah there to support Kai. Cindy helped Richter regain her title and was one of the biggest reasons WrestleMania became the Titan we know it as today. However, Cindy would go on to continue helping pro wrestling grow in popularity by inviting the professional wrestlers she'd come to love into her world one more time. In her two-part music video shoot for The Goonies Are Good Enough, Lauper would invite Albano, Piper, Richter, Moolah, the Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, Freddie Blassie, and even Andre the Giant to take part alongside other well-known celebrities at the time. When it comes to star power, Cindy proved to be the biggest draw, and without her, professional wrestling would not be what it is today. And for that, we here at the West Coast POPcast say thank you, Cindy. Now can we please get her in the WWE Hall of Fame? Did you enjoy our list? Be sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to click the bell icon so you can be notified when our next video drops. If you want to hear our thoughts on the pro wrestling world today, check out our podcast, West Coast POPcast, here on our channel or wherever you get your podcast from. I'm Arro from West Coast POPcast, and thank you for watching.